Good evening, folks. Reloading Bench back with you once again. And we've got a multi-unboxing tonight. Unbagging, unboxing. Two small packages and one larger package to complete what I would call the unveiling. So I'm going to start not with this blue one, but with this box. And this should give you a little bit of a clue as to what this evening's video may be about. So we'll put this in the background and we'll get to opening. I love this. When I was a kid, this was like the wet tape. You had to have this on a roll, and it was, you dip it into water, and it would, or roll it onto a sponge, and it would make the bottom, the sticky stuff, the stuff you want to tape. It's great tape. I like it a lot better. I think Amazon uses the cheap stuff. This is the goody older stuff. You might be able to read that. That says US. That is item number one-ish. The US from Wharton Manufacturing Company, 1943. Obviously, this is not from 80 years ago. This is a reproduction of the original. And we'll share what this is in a little bit. This is also a reproduction, not quite the same color, but same type of canvasy thing. This is also a reproduction. Everything here is a reproduction. Tonight is all about reproduction. There's nothing original to the era that we're talking about here. Whoops. But lots of parts. Another reproduction-ish. Some extra parts I ordered because of some stuff I saw that wasn't done to my liking. This is called the third hand, and this is a screw. So we'll put those off to the side. I think I know what that is, but if I share that with you right this minute, that will kind of clue you in. So I will hold off on that one for a moment and maybe do these two together. Oh my God, the suspense is killing me! Somebody will complain. Just open it! Wow, that's really thick. Maybe that will open up just enough like this. Paperwork out, and that's all that was in there. So that's ready to toss, and that's ready to toss. So anybody have an idea? Because the two of these go in there. Obviously this is meant for bigger, but this is the smallest size I could find, and a way to protect these particular magazines. So very cool, very nice. And this is called, and this will spoil the surprise, a Thompson T10 packed. It's a 20 round stick magazine that has been permanently reduced to 10 rounds for restrictive states. I live in a restrictive state, which I believe anyone who's watched my channel knows. I like to peel off the staples rather than yanking them out. Call that my OCD. And we'll see. Oh, that's very cool. So this should be a correct magazine. And you can see the difference of the limiter. I'm going to guess that's the limiter. And it looks like it's been riveted. Very cool. All right, now I have to switch things up in order to show the larger of the items, the real star of the show for this evening's video. Let me move things around, be right back. All right, I realize you cannot read this, but this says Auto Ordnance from Thompson, and it says Chicago Typewriter, and even better, it says Made in the USA. So I have no idea how this is going to potentially fit in screen, but, and maybe not be able to open because of everything that's in the way. But this is a Thompson submachine gun, or what was the Thompson submachine gun, with a drum magazine. This particular drum magazine holds this big drum magazine holds the exact same number of 45 ACP bullets as both this magazine, which will now go right there, and this stick magazine, also the exact same capacity as this magazine. So this is purely for looks, and that will go in here as well. And it looks like these two slots can fit a 30 round stick magazine. These are the goodies that came with it, including the third hand, third finger, third whatever. And as I said, this particular, so what made this so cool was picking this particular drum magazine up, which is, I don't know if you can see that, the 10 cartridge. So this is a 10 round magazine, which sucks, but you know, got to stay legal. And let me, whoops, very tight fit. Sorry, folks. There's not a lot of room to maneuver. So I'll open this. I will try to open that. It's cold, and my fingers are cold, and this is steel. So what makes this a 10 round magazine is this lip. You can only put 10 bullets into that lip. A 50 round would have this particular, I'll call it a spline, go all the way around, and then tail off at the end, so you can only put 50 bullets. A 100 round magazine would have this spline go all around and divide this in half, so you could put 10 and what is it, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever. There'd be 100. I think the 100 round drum, 50 round drum, and then I want to say the 100 round drum is either bigger, but I don't know that for sure because I don't know much about the drum magazine. But it was an option to ship to my state, again being in the 10 round configuration because of my state's restrictions on capacity, which kind of sucks, but you know, it is what it is. So the way you load this is by taking it apart and then reassembling it, which I won't do right now because it's a little you have to get this clip in here just a certain way, and then you twist this around to add tension to the spring, and that's how the rounds advance to here. So it's an old-fashioned drum magazine. I got that because I thought the cool factor was off the map. The Thompson, originally in 1920, this is called the 1927. Again, because of my state's restrictions, fin grip, can't have the original grip up top, so this is a straight forend, and again neutered, so it meets the local restrictions. This is heavy as all can be, very cool in terms of sight, and this is see-through to the front post. Again, extremely heavy. And then the 10-round magazines will go up in here and up in there. So again, camera's really tight fit. I don't know if I can do that easily. I do not have the bolt to the back, so hang on. All right, so this is called, this is the bolt release catch. So the bolt, now you can see, is locked to the back. Again, I'd rather be doing this on the bench, but there's not enough room on the bench, so hang on one second. All right, that is now loaded. So this is the magazine release. You saw the magazine just release, and there you saw it pop back into place. So this magazine has a little catch that goes into that hole right there, and that's what locks it into place. So again, this looks kind of neutered. You know, it doesn't have that intimidating look. I think, you know, when you pop the 20 round, and I want to say, if I read my history correctly, the Thompson originally came with a 20 round magazine, and was later, they later added the 30 round magazine. So that looks a little more, you know, intimidating, I guess is the right word. But the drum magazine, when the drum magazine is in, is extremely cool. And what makes the drum magazine a little more challenging is this particular mag release, which releases that little nub right there, doesn't really pertain to the drum magazine. There's nothing to lock the drum magazine, and this hole is what lines up. Actually, no, that doesn't. Maybe it does. We'll find out. But this magazine doesn't get released by this. There's a you have to have the bolt back in order to insert the drum, and then you have to have the bolt back to release the drum. But the only way to get the bolt back is to push this lever here, push it in once the bolt is in the back. And that's what this thing called the third hand is for. So I have limited space here. I'm not going to try this right now simply because this isn't put together. And you have to use that third hand, which I picked up an extra one because that's how things go. Better to have extra than to not. And if I get this open, I'll show you what I'm talking about. But if you only run the stick mags, you don't have to worry about this third hand. Third hand is only applicable. Wow, the masters of the tape. Unbelievable. There is the third hand, and I'm not quite sure which side goes up and which side goes down. So I'm going to take a look right now. Look at that, because then this locks it into place. And this is what you would push up on the third hand to lock that in. So, all right, so the way this works, again, this hole holds the third hand in, so you can see how the third hand moves that particular lever. And in order to lock the bolt back, this has to be pushed back. And the only way to get the drum magazine out, because when the bolt is forward, the drum magazine will not come out. And you can't put your hand or your finger in here to lock the bolt back by hitting this lever, because the drum magazine is there. So thus the third hand to do that. So if this was, I don't remember if it locks open bolt on last shot or not. I don't believe so. So I'm going to lock the bolt back, and I'm going to push up on the third hand. And now you see the bolt is locked open. This was pushed up to allow the bolt to stay in the open position. And now, in theory, I can load this magazine, but I will put it back together first. So there's a lip that this clip goes on, and then you would be twisting it. It says 4 to 6 clicks clockwise, which I will not do because there's nothing here. And this is what the drum magazine looks like loaded into the gun. And there is the third hand, so that you, once the bolt needs to be locked back to the rear, which it already is, you would use this in order to keep that bolt locked to the rear. And we'll go all for the gusto now and try that out. So we have bolt locked forward. There's the bolt. This is not coming out, and the only way to do that now is to use that, hopefully, to lock it back. I'll let you know if I'm able to get that out. So in order to get this out, not only do you have to have the third hand engaged to lock the bolt back, you also have to do that release, because it still holds it in. So that's kind of cool. This weighs a ton. This is not, I don't know what this weighs off the top of my head, other than heavy as shit. But it is quite the heavy piece of machinery. And again, the accessories, sling, that will go on. This is the drum, which I need to figure out how the snap works. I don't know if it's as simple as a pull open, which it was. The idea behind this particular cover is to do that, so that you've got some protection for the drum magazine. Again, more of the snaps for the 20. The 20/10. And I'm afraid once the 10 goes in, it might not be coming out, because this 10 is a shorty. So I think I'm going to keep the 10 with the actual rifle, because that's so tiny. And then I will put the sling on. So that is it for tonight. We now have a big Thompson and a little Thompson, made in the USA. I don't remember where this one was made. This one was the M1 version, no ribbed barrel, and obviously a lot shorter than the the real McCoy. But very cool. Old design, modern implementation of an old design. Good stuff. Later. Good evening, folks. Got another unboxing tonight. Pardon my hands. Everything's always falling and in the way. I'm not really sure. I think I know what this is, but I'm not 100% sure. It's a bigger box than it needs to be, methinks. Well packaged, or at least well taped. I want to say it's an auto ordnance. It's another auto ordnance magazine for the Tommy gun. And I'll grab my paperwork out of here. This is from Wild Built Tactical, and it is an Auto Ordnance 1030 magazine, California legal. And the reason it's a 1030 is because they've done all kinds of, wow, that's really cheesy. I like, and it's got the correct hole. Wow, that's a very interesting. So I'm going to guess it's got a limiter in there because of the wonderful epoxiness. Yeah, that's really funny. I would have thought they would have riveted it like the other company did. But, you know, to each their own. So I'm thinking that's the limiter. You know, I don't know much about these magazines. This is a 10 rounder. Looks like you can take it apart. I'm going to assume you slide that forward. Yeah, that's a good looking magazine. It's an older, looks like it's older as opposed to, older is maybe a relevant term, but it's a 1030. In fact, it's funny how they mark 10 round. Too funny. But that completes the whole. You know, I've got a 10 rounder, I've got a 1030, and we also have a 1020. So between the three, in fact, let me grab. Here is our wonderful So I think this was done a little more tastefully. A little cleaner, a little nicer with the rivet as opposed to the epoxy. Hey, but whatever it takes to stay legal. So there is the, so I believe, and this looks like it's a newer, nicer magazine than this particular one. So I don't know if they took old parts and or did whatever, but we've got a 10 round, a 10 round, and a 10 round. 1010, 1020, 1030. And I believe this was the original size that the Tommy gun shipped with. This is a California neuter. Well, they're all, you know, California neutered, but this is the 30 round, what was the 30 round after the 20 round. And I think there's even a 50 round stick, and that's not even talking about the drums. So now we have a 30 round, a 1030. We have a 1020. And I don't know if the better way to put these in is like that. Maybe that's a better way. Put them in bottom first. And it's easier to grab them by this. So we've got a 10 rounder that's 30 fake, 10 rounder that's 20 fake and a 10-10 that's real. All right, that is it for tonight's unveiling. Later.